Would you rather type 70 lines of code or 3? I can show you how to type all of this with just 3 lines of code. I'm Lisa, and today we're going to learn about lightning fast coding with Emmet Snippets. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use Emmet Snippets in VS Code to type code lightning fast and improve your speed and productivity while coding immensely. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you can come back for more videos on coding, tech, and productivity. Alright, so let's start out with a blank file here. I've named mine Emmet.html, and we'll start by creating a basic HTML document. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. You can type HTML, and in VS Code, the most recent version, the Emmet extension comes already installed for you. So as soon as you type HTML, now we're not using the less than sign in the front, just typing it without the tag markings as plain text, you'll see these Emmet abbreviation suggestions come up. Now we can use our arrow keys to go up and down and select the one we want. Let's do HTML5, and it will show you on the side there what this is going to look like. I'll hit enter, and it will scaffold this out for us. Now notice our cursor is currently selected on the device width, and if we want to leave that as is, we'll go ahead and hit tab. It moves us now to the next selected area, which is the initial scale. Tab again will take us now to the title area, and we can go ahead and type our title. We'll type Emmet shortcuts. If we tab again, we're now inside our body, ready to create content for this web page. One other even shorter way we can get the same HTML5 scaffolded out for us is by using an exclamation mark. There we go. So now we're ready to type inside our body. Let's start with creating a header for our page. Now instead of typing header elements or other elements with the less than symbol at the beginning, we just leave that off and we type the name of the element, and it pops up here. Header. We can hit enter, and it will create our header for us. And then we can go ahead and push enter and create a new line and type whatever we want in here. However, if we already know what we want in here, instead of just typing header, we can also specify what we want to be inside the header. And for that, we use the child selector. Now, when you use Emmet abbreviations here, we're going to be typing just like we would in CSS without spaces. So our child selector is the greater than symbol. So now we're saying inside the header, we want to put something else. Let's put a nav. And inside that nav, we'll put a UL with some list items. Now, let's say we know for sure we want an About Us page, a contact page, and a blog page. So we want 3 links in the navigation at least for now. So we can use multiplication, the asterisks, times 3 to say we want li times 3. That will give us 3 list items inside our list. Now notice we can type in here, about, hit tab, contact, hit tab, and blog. So just like that, you have your entire header and navigation scaffolded out for you, and you've written out the content inside each of those list items without having to reach over for your mouse and manually move to the next spot, which is fabulous. Let's say we also want to be able to add a sibling. So in our nav, let's also add a div with a logo inside it. We'll say in our div, we want to have an image. We can give this image a class by using the class selector, and we'll give it a class called image-responsive. And then we also want a sibling in there. We'll use the plus sign. So inside this div will also be another div. Inside that div, we're going to have some text. So we're going to use curly braces for that. And inside the curly braces, we'll put whatever our logo text would be. In this case, we'll use Emmet. And you can see a preview here of what it will look like. And these little pipe characters help you understand where you're going to be able to tab into the different spots to edit. So let's go ahead and hit enter. Sure enough, we can see now we can add our source. So let's pretend we have an images folder. And we'll do our logo. For our alt, we'll do Emmet logo. And that's it. So that was our sibling selector in order to have multiple elements inside of our div. We also used the text inside curly braces. We used our class, and you can do the same thing with an ID. Let's go now here and say we want a section. We want to give it an ID, so we use our ID selector, the hashtag, and this will be our sidebar. Inside of our sidebar section, let's put a div. And inside that div, we're going to have a bunch of our social media links in here. So let's create another list. Inside there, UL, LI, and let's do Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So that will be 4. So we'll do times 4. And that will give us a list with 4 links inside there. Now let's say we also want inside of that section, our sidebar, another div. Well, currently we're inside of the UL. So to climb up out of that UL, we need to use our upper caret, which is on the 6 for me. Now we're out of the UL. We also need to go out of the div we're in. So we'll put 2 carets and then we'll create another div. Inside this div, we'll put just a little brief bio here in the sidebar. So let's go ahead and create a header here with some text bio. Okay. All right. So now we can create our social media links here. Now, let's say you realize you could also add all of your links. Control Z will get you back to your Emmet extension. Let's now edit this. So inside each of our LIs, we also want to add a link here. So we'll put a link, and we know we want to add an href in there, so we can go down to that one. And we also want, let's type that out because we need to make sure we add another upper caret since we went inside the li. And that will get us, there. And if you ever need to edit that, you might just have to go to the very end and redo the last character so that it pulls up the Emmet extension again if you were editing in the middle. Once that pulls up, you can now hit enter. So now we're in the spot where we are ready to edit our hrefs. This one will be facebook.com/Emmet. Tab takes us to the middle. Now we'll do the next one. We'll do Instagram. We'll do Twitter. And we'll do YouTube. Now those aren't real links, obviously. So now we have all that scaffolded out. So we figured out how to use our upper caret to come out of the element we're inside. Well, when things get kind of long and crazy, they can get a bit confusing. So with these Emmet extensions, you can also use groupings. And with those, we do parentheses. So let's say we want to now create another section. Inside this section, we'll have a div here. And this is going to be a list of our most recent posts. So inside this div, let's make sure we give it a class here so that we know it's our posts div. And inside there, we'll have UL, LI. Let's just do 3 for now. Inside each of those will be an A. So that's what each of our posts is going to look like. One of these list items. Now we know that after our posts at the bottom we want to have a button, but we want to make sure that that is outside of the UL. Well, instead of trying to climb out of it, we can also just group. So everything inside of this posts div can be grouped. And now we're already inside our section. We can go ahead and add a sibling, which will be, we'll create a button container. So button container, and that will contain a button element for us. Or we could just make it a regular anchor tag. And if you're having trouble seeing the hints while you're typing, you can also adjust where these hints show up for you. So let's go ahead and hit enter. And I'm not gonna manually add fake content for these posts right now. Let's actually visit really quickly where we can edit how these show up. So we're going to go to File, Preferences, Settings. In here, we're going to search for Emmet. And in here, you'll find a setting called Emmet Show Abbreviation Suggestions. This turns this option on so that when you start typing, those suggestions pop up. Make sure this box is checked if you want them to come up. You can also choose to show the expanded area of the preview of how it will look. You can change that to always or never. You can also make it so that you can expand them using tab rather than hitting enter. Now, if we go to the Emmet preferences and click on edit settings, you can see a few options here like this suggestion delay, hover sticky. One thing that you can do here is to set the editor snippet suggestions to be on top. So let's go ahead and save that and go back to our Emmet file. Let's go ahead and try out a custom attribute. Let's do a table, and inside the table, we'll have a table row with the T head, table row, create another table row, which will inside it have a few table cells. Let's do 3. Now on these table cells, we can use custom attributes here with our square brackets. Now, when you do this, you want to make sure it is before the multiplication actually. So let's go inside here and we will do a row span equal to 2 and a col span equal to 3, and we'll set a title as well. Okay, and that will allow you to enter a title. Let's hit enter. We're going to do our header table. Oh, looks like our multiplication didn't work. Times 3. And we actually need to just go up 1 level out of that T head back into the table. There we go. And there we have a table ready to edit. Fantastic. So custom attribute, go inside square brackets. Now I'll include the Emmet cheat sheet for you in the description below the video. Now let's say you want to create a list and you want to number the items. So let's do ul li item, and we're going to, in this item class, give it a number. So we're going to use the $sign to imply we want these to be numbered. And we'll multiply this by 5 and we'll hit enter, and you'll see that it puts the number at the end of each of those classes, 1 through 5. Very useful. All right, so those are essentially the basics. Now, pretty much any element that you type, whatever the name of it is, you can use that inside these Emmet abbreviations. You can get a little more advanced with typing out the specific type of element. For example, if you're doing a form and inside your form you want to have an input, now you can see these suggestions that comes up with the types. Use a colon and you can type search, for example, or search input. There's a few elements that do have aliases instead of the full name, such as a template. So rather than typing out the entire template, you can just type TEM, template. So you can take a look at the cheat sheet down below and scroll through there and get familiar with the ones that you use most often. Button, for example, is another one. BTN makes a button. That's essentially it for the HTML. So if you are interested in any more specifics about Emmet, or you want to see more about how to use these inside your CSS files, let me know in the comments below and I'd love to do another video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for more videos. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave any suggestions you have for me in the comments for future videos. I'd love to hear from you if you're going to be using Emmet to multiply your speed while coding in VS Code. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.